Good afternoon. I'm just going to talk you through quickly the work that you're going to be doing today. The first thing that you're going to be doing is again answering the questions that are in the orange text. Now, the key thing to remember with these ones is that they're always right after the information that they need you to know about. So for the first one, state the law of conservation of energy, you'll find the answer to it in the bit right above it. And for B, name 5 types of energy store, the information will be in the bit above it. And for 3 ways that energy is transferred between stores, the answer will be in the section above it again. So with these ones in the textbook, just look at the bit right above it and you'll find the answers there. The next thing I'm going to get you to do is summary question 1. This is a copy and complete again, but instead of having to come up with the words yourself, you just have to choose the right one of each pair that's in bold. So for example, the law of conservation of energy says that energy cannot be created or transferred. So you'd have to choose whether created or transferred is the right word there and just copy out the one that is correct. And again, the information for this, to complete this, will all be on these 2 pages. And usually it's in the order as well. So the first ones, look at the beginning and then look further on as you go through it. Then we are moving on to this sheet. And the sheet describes a series of situations and things that can happen. And they want you to complete the sentences that will talk about the energy stores. So which energy store is there more of at the beginning and which energy store is there more of at the end. And so to help you finish this, you'll need this table here, and it will tell you, so if it's something about food or fuels or batteries, it's a chemical energy store. If it's a hot object, it's about the thermal energy store. So I'll run through the first 2 with you, and then hopefully you can have a go at the other 5 by yourself. The first one is slightly easier because they have already given you the name of the energy store. It is energy in the battery, and so because it is about a battery, it is the chemical energy store. And what they're saying is that there is, in this situation, there is a motor. I'm going to draw a box with an M in it for motor because my drawing is terrible, and if I tried to draw a motor you wouldn't be able to tell what it is. And there is a string, and on the end of it there is a mass. By mass, what we mean is just something heavy. So maybe it is a block of metal. And so the motor will lift this mass upwards. So before, there's more in the chemical energy store of the battery in the motor, and then afterwards there is more energy in the blank store of the mass. Now this one is probably the most difficult type of energy store to get your head around based on this table, so I'm glad that we're doing it as an example. Here's something that has been lifted upwards, has changed its position in a gravitational field, and so it is relating to gravitational potential energy. So anything that has been lifted, or maybe it describes something being at the top, then it will always be talking about gravitational potential energy store. Now this is quite a small line, and this is a lot of words, so I'm going to cheat and write GPE for gravitational potential energy store, because my writing is not going to fit all 3 of those words in that line. So feel free to use GPE instead of gravitational potential energy store if you need to. We'll go through one more. So the second situation is letting a pendulum swing. So what this means is that you have a string suspended from a point, and on the end of the string there is again something heavy. So you could think of this like a swing set at the park, where this is the bar at the top So you're looking at it side on. So this would be the bar at the top, and then you have the chains down, and then you have the seat where a person would be. In fact, I'll draw a little person on there so it looks a little bit more like a swing. And when they push themselves back, then they'll swing this way, and then they'll go back, and then they'll go back, and they'll keep swinging. And when they're at the top here, they won't be going very fast, or they might be completely still. And as they go towards the bottom, they speed up, they get faster and faster and faster, and then they go up, and as they go up, they slow down. And then when they go back towards the bottom, they get faster and faster and faster and faster, so that they're at their absolute fastest point at the bottom. And then as they go back up, they get slower again. So at the start, so when the person is at this point of the swing, there is more energy in the blank store of the mass at the top of the swing. So at the top, something is up high, it's been lifted, so we're relating back to the position in a gravitational field, the gravitational potential energy store. So again, I'm just going to write G, P, E. Afterwards, there is more energy in the blank store of the mass at the bottom of the swing. So at the bottom of the swing, at this point here, the swing is moving very, very fast, and so it's energy to do with moving objects. It is the kinetic energy store. So I will just write kinetic in that box. So for each one, you need to decide whether it is energy related to a food, a fuel, or a battery, whether it's energy to do with something being hot, whether it is something that's moving, whether it's its position in a gravitational field, so it's been lifted or it's at the top, or whether it is something changing shape, so like an elastic band when you stretch it out. And then once you've decided whether it's to do with one of those, you see what type of energy store it's related to, and you write the name of it in the line there. The last task for you to do, and this is an extension task, so it's only to do if you still have time left in your hour for this lesson, once you've finished everything else, is summary question 2. It's very, very similar to what we've just done, but it doesn't have those sentences to complete. So what you should do is write it out in a similar way. So talk about what chemical type of energy store there is at the beginning and what type of energy store there is at the end for each of those things. But again, it's an extension, so only if you've finished everything else. Again, if you have any problems, feel free to leave a comment on the homework or send me an email, and I will do my best to answer you as quickly as possible. Bye.